and I believe in you. I believe in the simple things and everything you do.
Hey, everybody.
I believe in the heavens above, and I believe in truth. I believe in the love we have, because I believe in you. So tell me, do you feel the way that I feel? And tell me, would you give what I'm willing to give? And I believe in honesty, and I believe it's true, and I believe if you set it free, it will come back to you. And I believe that things were meant to really be, and I believe in the love we have, because I believe in you.
Welcome to I Cure Cancer, everybody. I'm Vince Easley, hosting for Ian while he's down in Branson, Missouri at the Live Happy Be Pure Dinner Gala and Organic Festival. Our wonderful co-host for Ian, Cynthia Brooks, is here. Also have a guest, Max Wall, for Dallas Urban Farms, which we're going to talk about some later. And we have a show lined up on, we're going to talk about cancer and some nutrition and some other facts. I'm going to open with this, and then I'm going to say hello to Jay Cynthia and to Max. So I wrote this some time back. The cannabis plant has been used as food, fiber, and medicine for thousands of years. It's only since the last century that the plant's prohibition was fraudulently introduced upon the world, depriving us each of our health, wealth, and happiness. Hemp and marijuana both come from the same plant, cannabis. Hemp is an industrial commercial use of the cannabis stalk and seed for textiles, foods, papers, body care products, detergents, plastics, and building materials. Marijuana is the flowers, the bud of the plant, ingested for medical and recreational use. Pass. It does all, after all, get people high. THC triggers cannabinoid receptors in the brain, and this produces the sensation of being stoned. Those receptors are found in the parts of the brain linked to pleasure, memory, concentration, and time perception. To summarize, I'd like to say that I agree with the federal government about marijuana, and it does victimize individuals. Or should I say, the enforcement of arcane, unjust laws victimize individuals, our states, and our nation. Productive members of society are often victimized for mere possession, tainting their lives and their careers permanently. Valuable resources are diverted from the use of marijuana laws. Excuse me. Revenue is lost from marijuana taxation, which I don't agree with taxing, but drug dealers are growing rich and powerful as long as they can profit from the sale of marijuana, often financing their other operations, including violence, intimidation, murder, hard drugs, kidnapping, and many, many others. Big government is on steroidal growth in their power over the average American citizens, with our rights being infringed upon and being quickly evaporated. Soon George Orwell's imagined police state will be the norm. I think we're there. We are not just talking about an individual's right to fair use of medicine, recreation, and relaxation. No, the issue is much bigger than this. We're talking about survival as a nation and as a world. Survival as a free people, citizens enjoying the opportunity, which I don't like the word citizens either, as our ancestors. Government interferes into our normal everyday private lives. It's creating havoc. Our economy is collapsing. Government continues to act contrary to public opinion by meddling in foreign affairs that do not concern us. Adopt George Washington's opinion and refrain from such meddling. Political correctness has become a cancer, changing the core values of our society. Stress is mounting on the average citizen. There's alcohol, maybe. Marijuana, however, is a viable alternative to the ever-increasing pressures being placed upon us. It is therapy for the mind, soul, and body. It is peace. I choose no worries over the alternative. I choose marijuana. Thank you. And I'd like to say hello to Jacynthia. Welcome.
Hi, Vincent. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for everything you've done with the show today. It's just been a little crazy, and I think this is the first time Ian and I both were not available. I got lucky at the last minute, and I was. So first of all, I just want to thank you for pulling it together so quickly and doing such a fabulous job and getting us a fabulous guest. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I've got to send shout out to Kate and Max, who have done a fantastic job. We spent the last 3 hours putting the show together, and so looks like it's going to be a good one. So I think we're going to have fun, talk about some things, and introduce Max.
Definitely.
Say hello, Max.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Great. Meet Jacynthia.
Hey,
Hi, Max.
Cynthia, it's nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you, too. You know, I'd like to just say a couple of things before we get rocking and rolling here, because I think we have some new listeners. First, did I get dropped?
No, it sounds like somebody else. Oh, no. Vince, I know, muted his microphone. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. It got very quiet. Well, for the new listeners, I was diagnosed with terminal cancer and less than 2 years to live if I didn't do chemo, radiation, surgery, the whole 9 yards. And I did some research, and I didn't know very much about alternative medicine. And in short, I did the research. I put myself on a program. I assembled a team of different people, physicists and whatnot. And I ended up curing myself in less than 8 months. When I got my, I think it was the 80% cell recovery. When I got that good news, Ian and I were both actors, and we were in a theater company together. And at that point, we were already performing, and we were on a break. And I didn't tell anyone, but since I knew I was going to live now, I told one of my best friends, Lizzie. And Ian, as usual, he was standing behind us eavesdropping. And that's why on his poster, he said it all started with a whisper, because I kind of whispered it into Lizzie's ear. And he just jumped on me, and he tells the story much better than I do. So cause he's so funny. He's like, "You can't cure cancer. You're lying. What are you doing? Are you trying to impress me because I'm cute?" He was saying all this stuff. And, but what was interesting, both of our journeys was so interesting, because of course that was life-changing for me. And so for the past 16 years, I've been dedicated to assisting others who want to cure themselves of any disease using alternative medicine. And what was interesting was that Ian, even though he didn't believe anything I said, and I do believe I showed him my pathology report back then, but he couldn't understand it. And, cause it's written in Chinese. And, but he said, "I want to know what you're doing." So cause this was before any information was on the internet. So good for him. He followed me all over the state to all the different physicists that I was working with, and spirituality was the main factor for me. And even went to, I'm a reverend in the Essenes who wrote the Dead Sea Scrolls, and Jesus Christ was an Essene. And Ian, even started taking meditation class, which Essene meditation I used curing myself of cancer is much different than any other kind of meditation. He went to meditation classes. I believe he even went to some of the healing classes to learn how to become a hands-on healer, and made a total about face. And then we kind of lost touch for a few years, and then he contacts me, and he has this empire called icurecancer.com. And actually now I focus on the vibrational proclivity of any disease on a vibrational level more than the outside things for your body, although you have to set your body up, meaning diet and things like that. But Ian became so knowledgeable. He knows more about that than I do now. So when I get, I just, what was it? Lyme's disease. I had someone come to me and want help with Lyme's disease. And, he was the one that, told me what to do. He's very product savvy, and he really does his research. And so, I just wanted to say what a fantastic job he's doing. And just lastly on that note, I also have a charity. And this is to help people who want to heal themselves with alternative medicine and don't have the financial means to do it. which most do not. That's the same problem we keep running up against. And I'm running an Indiegogo program, just like a little jump starter, which ends today, this evening, and want to put out a huge thank you to my dear, dear friend of many, many years, Bernie McGranahan, who's an incredible comedian. You got to catch his show. And he's doing wonderful humanitarian work. He's going out with his comedy routine, very similar to what I do with my stand-up comedy. Mine's about curing myself of cancer and trying to get it in a way that people can hear it and not be so frightened of it. He is going to all of the colleges across the country and talking about his experiences when he was drinking a little too much and the consequences of that, but it's hysterical. So big thank you to Bernie. He's such a wonderful supporter, and I really appreciate it. And I'm done. Oh, one last thing. People keep asking me this. I'm sorry. I just want to be clear about this. I didn't even know, first of all, back 17 years ago, there was no alkaline diet. If it was not, commonplace to talk about it. We were talking about cleansing my soul, and yes, and cells. That was an interesting slip, and which I did both. But also, I did not use any cannabis products. People keep asking me that because of my association with Ian. So I just want to be, clear that I did not use that at all. I didn't even know about it. I did, alkaline diet, meditation, spiritual work kind of thing. Just for the record.
Nice. That is quite the impressive story.
Yeah, fantastic, isn't it? Absolutely. So, yeah, I guess you guys can tell I'm back on for the humming. This motor won't shut down. But anyways, yeah, I'm really glad to be here, and welcome everybody in the event page, everybody here in chat, and for those of you that will be joining for the listen later, we'll be archived to MP3 and hit to YouTube a little later in the day. And I will be posting those back to the event page. And welcome everybody. So Max, glad you could join me. We jumped in here. And,
yes, sir. It's good to be here.
Yeah. We was busy, and never enough time. Even when we started a week in advance,
For sure. There's always something you're going to remember too.
Right. Now, you and I are going to be doing a show on what matters, and it's coming up in a couple of weeks from past Thursday. So a week from this next Thursday, I'll be in the second hour. First guest is going to be an author. I'll talk more about that on my show later. But anyways, so yeah, you've got some pretty neat stuff going on. You and your wife both are jumping out there and looking to make some changes. So
my wife is Kate, by the way. We're a team. So
right. Hi, Kate.
She won't be on here this time, but she's there.
Ah, that's fabulous.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they're great people. So, hey, let's talk some about, you said, Cynthia, you didn't use cannabis, but, by acidifying the body, alkalizing the body, cancer has not got a favorable environment to live in. There's plenty of study that indicates that, cannabinoids, from the cannabis plant, are effective in treating and curing cancer and actually making an environment where it cannot survive. Contrary to the medicine, the so-called healthcare, the sick care industry of today, which I think a study will show that it was created early on in the later part of the 1800s, early 1900s by interests that had profits in mind. So they took us away from the homeopathic medicine into allopathic medicine, where they're taking and extracting certain compounds from material to synthesize a compound itself that it treats symptoms of diseases and ailments and maladies that do no more to cure anything than the man in the moon. It's specifically intended only to treat the symptoms. And if you don't address the cause, then you can pour water in a brush fire, but if you ain't got it all the way covered up, it ain't going out.
The problem won't actually go away.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the cause on every level. And I don't know a great deal about cannabis. I'm learning as we're going along. So every now and then, just expect me to chime in about the spiritual work as well, because I won't let anybody walk away from that. But understanding what's going on, that's what I had to do. Understand what was going on with my body, what was going on with my spirit, going on with my mind, what was going on more of a, subatomic particle level, the whole range from one to another, and they all affect each other as well. Because I've said many times, there's many ways to cure yourself of cancer. You can cure it from the inside out, which I have so many people around me that didn't do any kind of diet change or anything, but through meditation and power of the mind, they're healing themselves. Or you can do it from the outside in. And as you get into an alkaline diet and you start cleansing those cells, what's happening is you're raising your vibration. Everybody thinks that the Essenes were doing things and eating these pure diets and everything that was in the Dead Sea Scrolls to be healthy. They didn't, and we don't. It's not. We're pretty healthy as it is. What it is, all of this is to raise the cellular level vibration so that we can access a healing energy and assist others with that. That energy is very fast moving, and if you're like eating a lot of, anything's possible. You can eat steaks 3 times a day and still be on a very high vibrational level. But for the most, that's why we cleanse our bodies, so that we can be very familiar and comfortable in this very, very fast moving energy.
Absolutely. And I think, Max, that you would agree. I know right before we came on air, we had a communal meditation, and I certainly agree that the spiritual aspect has a lot to do with it. And however you care to define that, positive thoughts and prayers go a long ways.
That's so cool that you just said that, because I've been doing a little bit of research on the side just out of like a hobby aspect, and I've been trying to raise my vibrational level, and I've found that, everything that comes from the earth is pretty much going to solve every problem that we're going to have. So there's really not a need to be making stuff out of like stuff that shouldn't exist. It's as simple as that. Well, I love that you're going there with that. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, when you think about it, there's an intelligence out there that we don't quite understand, but it's called ultimate intelligence. Everybody has a different word for it. Where I'm also an Abrahamer, we call it source energy. But when you're talking about this ultimate intelligence, had the intelligence to create not just this world, but many worlds, you're dealing with an intelligence, of course, that's going to be able to heal your body quite quickly.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's pretty important to have positive thoughts, and I'll tell you what, they're sure not going to hurt you. So, however,
definitely
find that for themselves. Huh?
Yeah, and also about cell intelligence. That's where I'm heading, is just looking at the individual cell intelligence, and those cells are guided by source. They have a relationship with this ultimate intelligence that we're all trying to get our hands on and can't quite do it.
Those cells are guided by, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, they're guided by source. They have a relationship with them, and they're constantly in every moment to moment looking for their balance and being guided by source. And to flip everything on its side, that's why pain is a very good thing. What pain is doing is telling us we are thinking thoughts, not positive thoughts, as Vinny said, we're having thoughts that are blocking that relationship with source energy. And that's what's causing the pain. So you flip the pain completely 180 again, look at it as a good thing, thank it, thank you. For some reason, I am blocking the relationship between source energy and the cells. And we always talk as Essenes, as we do healing work. So, usually my first healing with someone, it takes about an hour and a half. But that's just because, I go at the pace that whoever needs it. Because the truth is, the Essenes are claiming that a healing takes 7 minutes at the max. And the reason for that is, I'm going to quote now, Tony Robbins and Deepak Chopra talk about this all the time, about the people with multiple personality disorder, and this is all videotaped. That's how old it is. It's on videotape. Some of the patients with multiple personality disorder, when they change from one personality to another, their eyes would change from dark brown to bright blue. That's cell intelligence.
Wow.
That's the power of a belief system. And that's something else that I had to do when I, was in my cancer, is that I really had to work on completely rearranging and changing my belief systems about absolutely everything on this planet, pretty much, and especially myself and who I was.
Yeah, that's fantastic. A person needs to be willing to self-examine and not just remain in and a conformational bias paradigm. So I think it's very important to look at everything. And when you consider how, you know, the energy flows, how life exists, if you're receiving power, you know, good energy, good thoughts, good nutrition, look at it like gasoline powering a car, as opposed to perhaps you've got your initial energy from the sun and then stored it in a battery and then released it. Okay, there's no negative emissions from that. With gasoline, we have the pollutants all into the air. You know, that comes from the ground. This dead plant and animal life that's been buried down in the ground and compacted and pressurized and turned to coal and oil and so forth. So to extract that and use that, you know, to get life from death is, I mean, you get it, but it's not effective or efficient, and it's poison. So when you look at the opposite of that, of life and seeking your life, your nutrients, your thoughts, you know, I think, you know, eventually that I have a hope that I think we can change this planet the way it's working right now into the way it should be and could be. And
well, we absolutely have the power. It's totally in our hands.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's so interesting, too. I just want to chime in about this is that misconception, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend anyone, but the misconception that there was 12 apostles and that they weren't quite as great as Christ, that's not true at all. Actually, there's 144 apostles, but even other than that, all of his followers, what Christ was doing was teaching. He was, all of these things were raising people from the dead and walking on water and all of that business. And they were teaching others how to do that. But what was interesting about Christ was he was a great speaker. That was the only difference. But all he ever talked about was that he was, you know, everybody is like him. We all have these powers inside us. And it's just accessing that information that's all inside your head, and also energy and information that's coming from the source or whatever you call it. And we all have the power to do that. That's the whole point. And that's the whole point of empowerment. And so, again, somebody got very smart years ago and tried to disempower the people from that power and said, you know, you don't have this power, I do, but if you give me money to my church, then you still won't have the power, but I'll let you go to heaven. It was very clever. You know, some people don't like religion. It was a very clever idea. But you know what I mean? It's a lie. Everybody has that power. That's what I'm all about, is self-empowerment. And I always tell everyone to be their own physician and make their own decisions, because there is, if you feel comfortable with it, because there's something very self-empowering about taking authority again over your own space, over your own body and your own mind.
Absolutely. Hey, you know another thing that was cool about Jesus? He ate stuff directly from the planet.
He what?
He ate stuff directly from the planet.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Yes,
and I
definitely.
guarantee you, no saying anything about religion, but I guarantee you that had something to do with the reason that they lived so long.
Definitely. Definitely.
So, you know, we're totally on that. I mean, I love that, you know, this conversation is so intelligent. And, you know, it's really confirming a lot that we've been going through in recent times. Like, we've been, you know, there's a lot of people around us who it seems like they don't know what's going on. And, I feel like people are being slowly led. I mean, we feel like people are being slowly led to, you know, a position of ignorance of what's around them, the resources that they have available to them to help improve their lives and fix things that they're going through. You know, we come across people constantly that are like, no, what? I should go eat a such and such, like a vegetable? Man, no, I'm going to take this medicine. Yeah. And it's so frustrating to watch our people, like, just eat stuff that's killing them.
Well, yes, definitely. I just feel really encouraged because, boy, I'll tell you, you know, everybody thought I was an idiot and a freak 17 years ago once I did the research and did this to myself and put myself on, you know, these diets and whatnot. And everybody thought I was crazy because I was talking about, you know, probiotics are very, very important in healing yourself.
Absolutely.
And nobody knew what a probiotic was, actually. And now today, I say this all the time, probiotics is everywhere. It's even now in douche. So,
wow.
Well, there's some new products that I've just discovered that I won't mention here, but I'll post if you like. And they are cutting edge. And just, remember that everybody thought I was insane 17 years ago doing this. Didn't help the way I look with the blonde hair, but I think that was the whole point. I always say, and I say this in my routine, do I look like a physicist? And that's the point. Anybody can, if I can figure it out, anybody can. And I wasn't really the greatest student in school either. So,
well, say, Cynthia, I think you're a pretty smart cookie myself. I already know you well enough to know that. And I just hate it when we're just looked at as just another pretty face, don't you?
Yeah, I loved your post, Vince. But I feel very encouraged because people are learning more, and the greatest thing we can do is teach by example and just get the word out there and the information. And some people just aren't ready to hear it. That's what I've learned, and I just love those people. I love them, and I see them in total, health and happiness, and let them have their own journey. And I'm here for the ones who are really wanting this information. And, that's the best that you can do. But again, Max, you're talking about the suppression, which, unfortunately, such a beautiful, bright, lovely story about healing yourself, just alternatively with cancer, unfortunately really hooks up next to, which I bumped into many times, with the pharmaceutical cartel and all of the suppression. And for years I was angry at them, but then now that I see they're scared too, and now they're really scared. So there's really...
Yeah, seriously, they are.
They are. They definitely are. I just found out some are not too happy about my charity because a lot of people are hoping that the insurance companies will follow in suit, and so do I, and offer, alternative health care insurance as they do in London. But they're losing their grip, and I see it more and more every day as the mass consciousness is moving over and more to lighter, higher vibratory ideas, concepts, being able to absorb the information. Mm-hmm. Oh, anyway, I
thinking about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's remarkable. Again, the difference between now and 17 years ago. And Vince, you were the one too that was so sweet that told me, cause I decided not to publish my book, and you said on one of your shows that I think it was, I can't remember. We do so many shows together that I would have been slaughtered 17 years ago for saying the things that, I'm broadcasting now, and I think you agree. But, I think, Vince, you said that it would be more open and welcome, my book now, and more interest, than it was, a time before. So times are really changing, and the energy of the planet is speeding up. I mean, it's very interesting. I study a great deal of thought and thought form. And the interesting thing is that, all you have to do is hold a positive thought for 17 seconds. That's all. And then in 17 seconds, another thought joins it. Before 1986, that used to be 27 seconds. You had to hold that thought for 27 seconds. But this is how fast after 1986, the planet of the energy, of the planet is moving is now 17 seconds to 17 seconds. Once you get to 68 seconds mark, whatever you're thinking has manifested. You might not rendezvous with it right away because thank God there's a lag time, but, it has been created. And actually, just one more thing about that, about thinking positive and thinking your way out of cancer, et cetera, or any disease is that, I used to be a guest host on another show in 2010-11 called Spiritually Speaking Live, and we had a lot of interesting guests. And one of my favorites, I called him the brain expert. He's not so much a spiritualist as a scientist, but studying the brain. Now we have machines that find a way. They are weighing thought. Thought is in your aura. That's why the things are very big on cleaning the aura and whatnot. They can weigh thought now, and that's really important because if the thought has weight, it has mass. Mass attracts. So that's extremely important, whether it is a negative thought or a positive thought, hopefully a positive thought. So we're seeing the wonderful thing about Homo sapien that we're the great tool maker. And we keep making all of these great tools for things that, we can't see with the naked eye. You can see with your third eye, but you can't see with the naked eye, but we're creating these tools. I mean, look at Royal Rife and his magnification, and that's what's created the Rife machine. So they're creating these wonderful tools to be able to study, and let's remember not too long ago, the supposed to be the smartest man on the planet, Sir Isaac Newton, he couldn't figure out what an atom was. So he said, they don't exist. And it wasn't until one of his admirers years later said, I'm sorry, you're wrong. That was Einstein. And, boom, a couple of years later, we have the atom bomb. So, just because we can't see things don't mean they don't exist. And we're just coming farther and farther, even with our tool making, to be able to see these sort of things. And, you know, they're working on being able to photograph a quantum, which is very, very exciting because most diseases start on the quantum level. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, let's change direction and go. Let's talk about, some nutrition. No, Ian does a fast blend. If I can untie my tongue. Ian does a fast blend method where he just does it all in there, man, in a blender, blends it up, you know.
Food for fuel.
Yeah. So, you know, a lot of people are juicing and, the pulp, you know, that's really good too. You don't even, you know, just wash it and make sure your source. It's a good idea to have a good clean food source. And,
I mean, there's not a lot of stuff on this planet we shouldn't be eating, Vince.
Yeah, for real, man.
And now, Max, and you grow a farm, is that correct? Do I understand that? We had to rush so fast, I don't know a lot about you, and I don't know about the things that you're doing.
Actually, we have people located really closely around us. We have kind of like a co-op going, and we each of us have different sizes of urban farm going, and so we're kind of supporting ourselves, or we're getting well on our way toward doing so. And, you know, we can assure what we're putting in our bodies. And it's, I gotta tell you, it's a lovely feeling to be able to assure that, you know, I'm getting what I think I'm getting. And that I'm getting all of everything I need, that my body requires. And like my wife's life, our bodies, our moods, like it's how we're supposed to fight the fight.
And so you grow, so you do have like an ashram or something like that where you grow your own plants as well as cannabis?
I don't know what an ashram is.
Oh, ashram, it's a very old word. It means community.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, like a block. But everybody is in partnership helping one another and working together. And so you grow your own plants and you grow cannabis as well, is that right?
No, ma'am, we do not grow cannabis, but we have a daughter company called Denver Urban Farms, which, you know, they're in Denver, so they're doing a little bit of, thinking about researching or experimenting, but that's a buddy of mine, so that's a separate operation. But we are definitely supplying ourselves with produce. And in reference to ashram, I would say yes, it is the same theory, but we're a little bit more loosely knit because we're spread out over maybe like 100 square miles or so.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
So I dropped your link into chat there, and if you're in the Envit page, you'll find it there as well as DallasUrbanFarms.com, and encourage you to check that out. It's you guys are just really getting kicked off here and doing what each and every one of us should be doing, and that is doing something. Take a small step, and the next step gets a little closer towards the journey's end. And that is that we heal ourselves, our planet, and to do that sustainably. So tell us some more about Dallas Urban Farms project that you have.
Yeah, well, Max, I have a question. Can we, do you do mail orders? Can we?
Yes, ma'am. We operate in U.S. and Canada.
You just got a new customer.
Nice. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much. We were our first customers, and we're trying to get beat out to be the favorite customers.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sorry, I couldn't sit on that question. So tell us more.
No, thanks for the excitement, actually. Okay, so our dream and our vision and our trajectory is leading us to a position of being able to free our people from the dependence on the system, basically. So, you know, if you don't want to go to the grocery store and if you want to have food that you deserve as a human being from the planet, then, you know, that's kind of what we're about. We don't want to, have our stuff trucked to us. We want to, you know, be able to eat wholesome. If we want to have organic stuff and, you know, not have to look at a label to know that it's organic, then that's what we're going to do. Because I'm getting really, really tired of reading the backs of boxes and packages of stuff. So, you know, there's a lot of people who feel that way. And the ones that do, it's really becoming more of like a collective family at this point because everybody feels so strongly about this issue because especially in America, it's growing to be from just like a heated topic of debate to like a concern that we should maybe address. So what we've found is that if you can take back farming and if you can sustain yourself, that is one of the biggest steps that you can take toward what would be the phrase that I want to use here?
Empowerment?
Real freedom? Yeah. Yes. Empowerment. Self-empowerment. Real freedom. There's something special about knowing that you don't have to depend on something else larger than you to survive.
Right.
And
right.
As humans, we started out doing everything for ourselves. And now we're having things served to us almost like completely. So we found the Tower Garden. We have started vertical aeroponic urban farms, which are allowed to be, you can use them inside, outside, in a greenhouse, in a basement.
Can you tell us what that is? Because I don't know what that is. I'm sure others don't.
Yeah,
okay.
Let me say this and segue you into it. We were speaking earlier today and talking about that. Pretty great. But when we basically look at life, we have our main necessities of food, clothing, and shelter. So the cannabis plant would provide all that, and then you need to look at a few other things, and which is really neat. This Tower Garden, you're growing the root medium is rock wool. And there is a supply for nutrients, but then you and I started talking about the aquaponic and adapting that into that, which on Double Cross Radio on Thursday nights here on UCY.TV, Drew talks about that. He has actually a farm up in Oregon, and they are producing crops commercially now for restaurants and other people.
We actually aim to do that as well.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, you and I were talking. I said I got to get you guys together so you can maybe compare some notes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Notes are good.
Oh man, yeah, just good, clean, fresh food without all the stuff that comes from the farmer's field. That it's not the farmer that everybody envisions. With the straw hat and the piece of wheat sticking out of his.
Well, I just bought some suspenders.
Well, good. I
did.
Well on your way. Because remember, this is the most important thing when bending over weeding is that crack does kill.
Yeah. Well, there's always that. But the good thing is we don't do a whole lot of kneeling or squatting, so there's not too much farmer crack for us.
Yeah, you're kind of cheating now, aren't you, with this tower, huh?
Well, yeah, it is kind of like cheating.
What is the tower now?
Okay, so alright, so, you know about hydroponics, I'm sure.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, okay. So, they use water, right? Now, I'm almost positive that their plants sit in the water. And, well, you know what, I'm not gonna get into hydroponics, because I know about aeroponics. Aeroponics is like rain, if you will. But instead of it being water, it's filled with nutrients. It's water, it's supposed to be pure water. And, man, I just lost my train of thought. It's supposed to be pure water. Right, so the nutrient solutions rain down over the plants that grow in our machines instead of, yes ma'am. So they don't sit in the water, they get showered with it every once in a while, or a lot, or however often they want. And that's also an option. That doesn't, that's like standard, if you will. Anyway. Sorry, so I'm actually kind of feeling this out as I'm saying.
Okay,
I'm really
so
enjoying myself.
What you're doing is you have your tank of water and nutrients, and it's the plant with its roots in the medium are sitting there, and this pump cycles and runs water down through the rock wool, feeding the roots, which also is really fantastic because it's also adding all the aeration at the same time. And
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Contrary to what most people believe, plants do use oxygen.
Oh God, yes.
Yes. Yeah. And
so is it like a giant greenhouse full of nutrients?
Actually, it's about 2.5 feet wide. And if you can imagine a large bowl, maybe just small enough for you to hug around comfortably, and then from 5 to 7 feet tall, based on what you get. And that's pretty much it. There's a smaller cylinder that comes from up inside the bowl. Imagine a Q-tip inside a bowl.
Okay.
And the Q-tip grows the plants. It has pods on it that are structured in tiers, and every surface of the circular cylinder that comes up through the base is covered in green or whatever color you want.
Wow. That's
Yes,
amazing. And I'm curious now, just as, you know, a little selfish issue, but that food that you're growing must taste like a million times better than the produce
my
we buy in the
gosh.
market.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, you have to think about it. Like, just the first thing that came into my head was the produce that you get at your grocery store. Like, that's at least a week old before it gets there.
Right.
And you don't know where it came from, and you usually don't know who grew it. And I mean, even if it's organic, how much more fun would it be to say you grew it? But that's not the point. So on a tower garden, like, you can get stuff directly from the machine. It's not a machine really, but you can just pluck it from the tower or cut whatever you want to eat from the tower. And it's still sustaining you while you're doing whatever you want for weeks at a time and not messing with it for real.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
That's incredible. You know, and it's so true. When I was a young girl, my father and my mother, they're all gardeners. I come from a long line of gardeners. And I just recall when we were living in one place when I was about 5 years old, and in the back we had, corn, you know, a bit of corn.
Right.
And, I recall that corn was so sweet and so delicious. And I remember asking my father, why is your corn so much sweeter than what comes from the grocery store? Well, he was a he was a smart ass. So his answer was, I piss on it. But, which isn't true. But I can just remember, it was like really eating his corn and corn from the grocery store. It was really like eating two different foods. The taste was just so different. So I'm just so fascinated with your work. That's amazing.
You know, that's funny that you say that, the corn at that the corn was sweeter, because I'm thinking about tomatoes. The tomatoes that come off of this thing, my whole life I haven't cared about tomatoes. And it's because I've been eating them from the grocery store. What I didn't realize is that they actually have taste.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
The
exactly.
vegetable itself has a taste. It's not just red sack of water.
Yeah. We grew tomatoes as well. And, you know, also a fun thing is with the tomatoes, you know, if you have tomato plants, you want to have ducks, and then you don't need to put any kind of pesticides on them, because those ducks, they eat those tomato worms up like they're, you know, biscuits and gravy. It's an amazing thing.
Nice.
Yeah. Always get your ducks with your tomatoes, and they'll take care of the plants. It's very
Go get some ducks right now.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's awesome. Our greenhouse actually, it does the same thing as the ducks. I guess it's not as cool, and you could pet it, but you're not going to enjoy that like a duck. But, you know, it was only $50. I got it from Big Lots, put it on the apartment balcony, and our greenhouse has gone through the roughest, most bipolar weather changes in the last few weeks and month and a half. It's ridiculous. And our stuff is huge. And
I'm sorry,
it's
I was
delicious.
I was laughing at you. I didn't hear. What did you buy?
A greenhouse, actually.
Oh.
A little portable, build-it-yourself greenhouse that's just good enough, and it's protecting our bad boy from all these storms and cold and hot, and our stuff is just producing like crazy. And, you know, I had an omelet the other day. My wife, Kate, made me an omelet with rosemary from our tower. And actually, in retrospect, she got it before it was even ready to harvest, because now it's huge. But it was like pretty sizable I was impressed. I was like, oh, hey, that's rosemary. No, that wasn't rosemary. But anyway, it was so good. Like I'd never had something like that. And then a day later, I was just talking to two guys down in the courtyard, and I randomly was like, you know what, man, I'm going to get you guys some rosemary, because I had it yesterday, and I gave it to them. And these were like skater kids, and they were like, wow, we don't even eat this kind of stuff, and this is amazing, dude. What is this? I mean, it's real food.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
It's whole food.
Now on your, in your ashram,
Yes, ma'am.
do you have like chickens? Because you mentioned that you ate an omelet, so I'm guessing it was from a chicken, or so do you have?
It was from the farm. We're not completely self-sustainable yet, but we have a farmer who has pigs. Actually, I think he has goats. Yes, ma'am. He has goats and horses and stuff like that. But actually, that's one of our biggest dreams, is to be completely self-sustained. We don't want to have to depend on anything else anymore.
Right.
But we're working towards it.
So you have a farm near you that you go to for your what am I trying to say? Dairy, I guess.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I buy organic coconut milk, but yeah, the stuff that we do get, we have 2 or 3 local farms nearby, so it's pretty convenient for us.
And do you want to tell us? I'm curious, and you don't have to on air if you don't want to, but I'm curious, what state are you in?
Oh, we're in Texas. Yeah, you can. I mean, if there are some people that couldn't tell, I mean, we're from the South, but we live in Texas near the Dallas area.
You do kind of talk funny there, man.
I don't know how well. Don't get me started, man. All day.
I've been out here in Vegas since December, and I don't know, but I suspect some of my accent has faded a little bit, maybe, and everybody's probably laughing and hearing that I'm saying I don't have an accent.
Yeah, and then somebody's like, "Where are you from? Like Kentucky? Like, what do you mean, man? I'm from the city." I love that.
So you're just outside. You're just outside Dallas, is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we're in the greater Dallas Metroplex.
Oh, okay. I did a movie in Dallas once, and I really had a great time. We did we did the majority of our shooting in Waxahachie. Do you know that place?
Yes, ma'am, I do. Wow. It's a small world, man. It really is.
What movie was that, Jay Cynthia?
Oh my God, it's hysterical. It's one of the first movies I ever did, and if I can figure out one of my interns, it's on YouTube, and just for a hoot and a holler, I'll try to post it or ask her to. It was first called My New Car, and then another film like that came out. Then it was called It Takes Two. Then the Olsen sisters came out with that movie. This was years, like I said, one of my first movies. I just had a small little supporting part. And so I don't know what they're calling it now, but believe it or not, the whole film is on YouTube. I couldn't believe it. I was dying. I was laughing so hard. I don't know how many years, more than 20 years ago. And particularly the hair is just so humiliating and hysterical.
Now, what's that movie? The name slips my tongue right now. It's the one, there's a lot of big stars in there, and you're kind of like coming out of rehab or something like that, just kind of a whacked out crazy.
Oh, Clean.
Clean, that's it, yeah. Hey, I'm going to hit you in private chat later. I've been trying to find some of your movies to watch for free, and I haven't been able to find them. So I'm going to have to ask you where I can be a cheapskate and watch your movies for nothing.
Oh, sure. I would have to ask again one of my interns. We know how tech savvy I am, but I'm sure there are places, you know what I'm saying, that you can, and thank you for that.
Right on. Yeah, that looks like an excellent movie. I've seen some clips on YouTube, and there's several excerpts there that I've found.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good. That was one of my favorite movies. And the director, Niall Garcia, was really after something, you know? So, cause I've done so many rock'em sock'em retarded stuff, and that director was really
I love me some rock'em sock'em.
Yeah, Ian Jacklin. He was number 2 in all the world back in the 80s, kickboxer. He's done several films, and he's pretty awesome too. And yeah. And you did some soap opera days early on. Both you guys have done some great work, and now to complement that, because that puts you out there in the public, and so people are, I think, more willing to listen to y'all with credibility. And now you're doing a great work, sharing love and healing and trying to change the world. So I think that is fantastic. That's your best.
Thank you. It's an interesting phenomenon that I don't quite understand, but it's kind of a human condition that one of my publicists my book publisher was trying to educate me on, that the reason that when I was going to publish my book back 15 years ago, the reason all of the publishers jumped on it, they didn't even know what the content was. And that's why it stopped getting, because they did not like my content and the things that I was saying. But he did say something. He said, it's Cynthia, because I was on Days of Our Lives as a contract player. So he said, it's not like, you're some person that crawled out from under a rock somewhere. You're semi-known. And I was kind of like, I didn't quite get that, but I guess that is a human condition, that if you're there's some kind of notoriety there, that what we're saying is authentic, which is so not true. When I'm giggling because I'm thinking about our politicians, but I don't know. There's something to that.
No, I'm giggling thinking about it too. That's crazy. Oh gosh.
Hey, also, I'm just looking at the time, and this show became much more chatty than I thought it would, but, and it's all good. But Max, I just wanted to shut up and give you an opportunity because we're almost 10 to the hour. Anything that you would like to tell us, certainly your websites and where to reach you again, anything else you would like to tell us about what you're doing?
Well, actually, I think, we have like 10 minutes left or something. I think this would be a good opportunity to, maybe see if somebody had some questions. I could answer questions because, there are people who want to know stuff that I wouldn't think to say.
Yeah, if anybody would like to call in, I'll add you in. It is 1-718-717-8296.
Nice.
Give us a call. 1-718-717-8296.
I have a question.
Go ahead. We got you online already, so.
Yeah.
That's easy. Go ahead.
So even back, like I say, 17 years ago when I was trying to go after organic, I realized a whole controversy there. And I want to point out that some of the produce that's claiming to be organic is not. And I know do you know this? There's a whole process of having to till the soil for something like 7 years without chemicals or something like that. I don't know.
Yes,
Can you straighten out what like true organic is?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Actually, that's a perfect question. Thank you. Okay. So there's a difference between USDA organic. There's a difference between organically grown. So what you want is I've found things that worry me on USDA organic labeled stuff, right? So the point is you need to have organic ingredients in your food. Otherwise, if you don't know where it's coming from, then there's a chance that there's probably something bad in it. So you have to have your farmland for, I believe it's 3 years, and the USDA has to inspect your land that entire time and ensure that there are no pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, mold spores, insecticides,
antibiotics.
Yeah, any of that stuff. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's another step of the certification process. But for the land and the growing actual operation, they have to do it for 3 years, and all of your land has to be that way. But honestly, like even then, I don't know what's next door to them because I have a buddy who is he calls himself a beak. He harvests honey. And he's like, man, you have to have 100 square mile radius around any farmland to assure that the bees don't pollinate in GMO foods, in GMO crops. So I'm thinking to myself, if that's true, then are the GMO bees pollinating the organic stuff? So it gets to such a great finite degree that, it's hard to comprehend. But the 3 year thing is part of the answer to your question. Yeah, the USDA. Okay, I'm not even going to get on the USDA, but I haven't really. It's kind of hard for me to find produce that's labeled organic that's not, because as soon as they get caught, if the USDA doesn't prosecute them legally, then some bad stuff's going to happen. So usually when it comes to the light, people get in trouble and they get it, they have to pay fines or whatever. But then sometimes the damage is already done. So, I try to not just just go crazy with it because it's so prevalent, especially around us in this country, that I want to just take what I eat from the stuff that is around me. I don't want even people coming around my food that I don't know. And, I sure as heck don't want the weather on it and whatnot, but there is an incredibly ridiculous certification process for the USDA. And it's actually one of the biggest reasons that some people don't even go for organic food production, because the monetary costs that they've been penalized with are so it's inconveniencing to the point where they can't do business. So
you bring up such a great point that it came back around, because really, the whole organic and it is a GMO bee and this, that, and the other. And so really what you're doing is really the best thing, is that you're doing it, you know what I'm saying, what you're growing and whatnot. Better. Yeah, it was so interesting too, because one of the things that I used during cancer was I used ECST, and I was buying it from, a very popular organic market. But I was in contact with so many people all over the world. I set up this kind of support system. There was a girl way out past the desert, past Palm Springs, And she was growing her own ECIAC and having better results. And I thought, oh, that poor girl, during that time, that poor girl, she's so far removed, she has to grow her own ECIAC. Come to find out, at the end of it, she was sending it to me because hers was so much better. So I love the way this whole show is turned around and dovetailed, is that like really, and more people are, much more than you think, are back to cooking, back to, that's why there's no coincidence why these cooking shows are all over the place now, all over network, because people are going back to wanting to know what's going into their food. And even better if like you grow like you do, or at least purchase from a trusted one like you, you know what I'm saying? At least we know what we're putting in our bodies.
Yeah. And that's really all we have to do, because once we do that, every single other problem that we have like battle tools compared to when we were not consuming real whole food. So, it's like a launching pad for fighting against all the poison that's in our world.
Absolutely. Also, yeah, one time we had a guest on the show who was telling us about a woman who, she was so sick with cancer and she couldn't afford like juicing and the supplements that I took and things like that. So all she did was she had a dear friend who'd go out and, she didn't even have a blender, would go out to the store and get the organic food and put it in the fridge. And she laid her bed down next to the refrigerator and just, when she woke up, eat organic, lay back down. She got better and better, and she's cancer free just from food right there, organic food.
Oh, I love it. See, stuff like that, it reinforces, like this has become a passion. Like I don't ever want to stop spending my life pursuing this kind of stuff for reasons like that.
Absolutely. And you shouldn't.
Seriously.
Hey, we're going to come up to the end of the show here in about 3 minutes, 2.5 or so. And I'm going to say a couple words, and I'm going to let y'all give you a shout out and say bye. I really appreciate sitting in for Ian, along with Jay Cynthia, the beautiful Miss Brooks. I'm so proud to be here with you. And awesome. I really enjoyed this. This really went by fast. Thanks everybody for listening. Stay tuned to UCY.TV. Coming up in 2 hours is the Ocelli Effect with Chuck Ocelli, and you'll not want to miss that. He's one of our most incredible. I think we got Ian calling in. Let me add this to the call. And caller, welcome. Is this Ian?
No, this is Salamo.
Okay, I'm sorry. We come to the end of the show. Who is this? Say hi, and then we'll let our other host say their goodbye. We've got about less than 2 minutes.
I can be real quick.
Go.
I just wanted to say it's real funny that we put our trust in something that is organic and it's certified by stuff like the USDA as real whole food, which is the entity that makes it illegal to have real whole milk.
Amen to that, brother, for sure.
Seriously. And
Thank you.
Priorities are screwed.
Thank you.
You're exactly right, man.
Absolutely.
Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for calling in. It's a great point. Absolutely. We got to get this straightened out.
Yeah. Give a shout out again for DallasUrbanFarms.com. Go check out his website. I look forward to further interacting with Max, and he will be on my show in about a week and a half, or just about 2 weeks.
I'll be listening.
Yeah. And Jay Cynthia, you have a lot of great stuff going on. I really appreciate being a part of what you're doing as well. And we got about a minute, so you guys sign off, and I'm going to mute up, and really appreciate being on with you guys. And thanks again for everybody for listening.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vincent. And all of my stuff is on Facebook if you need to contact me, my charity, my blah, 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 everything that I've done. And please check out Max. Please order from him. I know I'm going to. Let's have Max put the shopping channel out of business.
Seriously, we're going to start our own FVC. I don't know what the Q is. I don't know what QVC stands for. We got this, though.
It's fabulous, actually. I'm an addict, unfortunately, to the shopping channels. It goes with the blonde hair. And so I'm quite an addict, but, they're really revolutionizing, and they've got a tremendous... Oh, that's it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Matt.
We're out. Thank you, guys. Love and peace.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Stay tuned to UCY.TV, and big shout-out thanks to Jules for all your hard work and everybody else here. Take care, everybody.
I believe in angels, and I believe in you. I believe in the simple things in everything you do. I believe in the heavens above, and I believe in truth. because I believe in you.